Hello, welcome to another tutorial for Stonehearth's Alpha. This time we are doing a little bit something more complicated, which will be we will add a custom profession into the game. And you see here two workbenches. They are looking the same because I did not change all the icons and the models behind it. So nevertheless, here we have a scribe workshop, and that's a carpenter workshop. So the carpenter workshop is what you will have as a standard profession in the alpha, and the scribe workshop is the custom one which I've created and included here in the game. So you see my carpenter can craft whatever is in the list of recipes, you will know that one. And here you have the scribe now, also with a journal entry, so it's just a placeholder just to show it again, and also with a workbench, and I've included here some unique recipes, actually one, and you see also change this icon here, and there we go. So we have two professions which are fully working. I can place the bed of the carpenter, and if we wait a minute for the scribe to finish, then we will also be able to place here this printing press which he has created, or she actually. There we go, just to show it. So see different descriptions, different list of recipes. So a full functional profession. And here we go with the printing press. So that's what we are going to do. Let me reduce the size a little bit. As mentioned, it's getting a little bit more complicated because we just have to change quite some points of the code and add some files. But let's try to make it as easy to understand as possible. And the good thing on a video is you can replay it, so that should work out quite well. So let's start with the appearance or the design of the profession. So if we go to the folder, we are always in mods, Stonehearth, and here if we go to the entities folder, we will see that there is also a professions folder, and in this professions folder there are all the professions which are in the game. So the weaver is prepared but not available yet, so they should come with the next patch actually. And here is the scribe which I've created, and now let's try to create a new one, and I will just copy and paste. It's always the best way for me to start some own mods or contents. I copy the carpenter and let's rename it to custom profession. So that will be the profession later on. If we click here, it will see say here custom profession, whatever. So just to see that we make a new one. Now inside this folder we have different things included. So there is first a profession description JSON. This file actually describes a little bit where other components for this profession are. So there is a profession type. We need to rename actually just the references to the carpenter here. So we said it's called custom profession. So let's just rename this everywhere actually where you find the carpenter. We need just to replace it. So it's as easy as that. It's a little bit of work, but well, you just do it once in best case, and then there we are. So here you have a link to the recipes. We will just take a look on that one a little bit later. So you will find a better name for the guy, but just for the sake of showing how it works. So here we define the look of the workshop. As you see, I did not change it for the scribe either. You would need to create a file, change the look a little bit. That's also not rocket science. Profession. And that's it. Let's check it once more. Actually, I can use the find function. Look for the carpenter. There is still one carpenter here. And let's write it together, because I'm quite sure that I will mess it up at one point, and then he will not find the references. So knowing that's not the way how to do it, we still do it. So it's always custom profession together. Okay, and one more. There we go. So carpenter is not there anymore, and custom profession is fine. That's very important actually, that you don't mix it up and write it once big, small, without or with a dash or whatever, because then later on the references will not work and you are starting to look for the errors. Okay, so save that one. Then we have a skin file here, or folder, which is actually the look of the workshop. So here in the icon, which you press to craft, there is a CSS file included in there, which is referencing to these two files. So the only thing we need to do here is to custom profession, change the carpenter again to custom profession, and save it. There is no other reference we want to change. Let's go one step back. We have the recipes. For the time being, there is no reference to any profession, so we will just keep the professions as they are, the recipes as they are. The images, we keep them also. Then the carpenter workshop, let me change just here the folder also before I forget it. So the carpenter workshop becomes a custom profession workshop or workbench. If we look into it, again, we need to rename all the files. Makes it easier to not forget something. And now we change also the JSON here, and it's again the same. So this are just some things you see later on the workbench. Here we reference to the right workbench and just change it in a way that if it is written in small letters, keep it like that. That's the easiest way. Okay, and we have one last here. Place custom profession. And I like to use here really the find function, just to be sure that I did not forget anything here. And let's save this one also. So we should be done with that one. Now let's go to the custom profession. So we will reuse the saw. It's okay. Not going to change the icons now, the design, because that's really like changing just the file and that's it, paying a little bit attention on the size. But for that you don't need a guide. So let's look, what do we have here? Reference to the saw and to the proxy version, the small one, which is carried. Okay. And then we have here a link to a Lua file. So that's one of the Lua files we will have to touch a little bit later. Custom profession. Okay. Again, no carpenter. Perfect. Save. Close. Next one. This is really taking a little bit time. But I will show you every point which you need to change, so at least you don't need to look for it. I will also try to highlight which parts probably will change soon. And so once they are changed. You don't need to wait for another tutorial or update, but you can find the point by yourself. So that's the outfits here, defining the look. Okay, and that's it. No carpenter here again. So it looks like we've done with the first part here. We changed everything to custom profession there. Here we don't need to rename everything. Let me just go down here in the folder view. So that's the recipes. This we don't need to change. Here we changed it, we changed. So perfect, that's the first part. In the entities profession, we added our profession. Now the look is more or less defined. Now we need to show it in the menus. So if I click here in the game on my menu build workshop, I want to have here my custom profession shown. And this is actually down here in the UI. So we need to go down, click and open here the game folder. And then there is something which is called Start Menu. We open that one. And here we do 2 or 3 things. First, we need to take care that there is an image which is called Custom Profession. So let's reuse the icon here. Okay, so we have now an icon related to the custom profession. And then we open the HTML file. There we go. We look for the carpenter again, which is here. And we just, again, copy and paste another line in here, which will be our custom profession. Build custom profession workshop, game images, and we link to our image, which will be the same, but just for the sake of having it later on easier to be changed. That makes sense. And you can also define here a hotkey. Let's take the X maybe. And that's it already. There should be nothing else. There is. So that's the name which will be displayed. Okay, now we are good. And let's take a look on the JavaScript file. There is actually also one function we need to change or add. That's actually in the HTML file we are referring to this one. So it will be looked after here. So better take care that it is there. And as you see, this is linking to the entities folder. Custom profession, there we go. Okay, that should be it. Now we should be able to display also on the menu here another profession, our own. So this should be also fine. And now there are some few additional points where we need to change it. Let's take a look on the data folder. There we go. And there is an effects and actually a place workshop, and you see that there is a JSON file for every workshop which will be placeable. So we have to copy and paste again the carpenter, change it to custom profession, so that there is also one file for our custom profession. And actually inside you don't need to change anything. There is no specific profession specific data included in there, so that's it already. It was an easy one. And as I mentioned, there is a Lua code which we need to adjust. So this you will find in the, let me close the data maybe again, and the entities. So there is a folder which is called professions already, and you see there is for each of the professions, also a folder in there. So we do it just like that. And we change it to custom profession again. Now there is actually a Lua file in there now. And that's one of the Lua files which we need to adjust. And here the easiest is if you just go and replace carpenter with custom profession and replace all. There we are, because there are some references in this text to the carpenter, and this way it's just done rather quickly, and we are done with this one also. So that was actually the fourth already. There are 3 more to go, but they are not so complicated again. So we go again back to the data folder, and now we want to take care of the log entries. So as you see, here is a latest log entry, and I've actually enabled the personal log. So you see for this profession or for this worker all his entries, and as he became the scribe, an entry was added. So this is what we are going to do now to ensure that this is logged, and to define how they are called and what will be logged. So we go to data as mentioned, and then there is a folder personality, and again you see for each profession there is one. So just make sure that there is one for the custom profession. Let's open it. There is a little bit to change here, so that the log will be triggered with the right event. And then of the whatever, you can change here the text. So you see here the different personalities of the workers, and for example this one here is academic, so it would be this entry which is written then into the log. So you can change here the text based on the personality. This we don't need to adjust now, but we need to ensure that there is the right event behind it. So let's just say save here. That's just for the sake of, yeah, there will be references in the text for the carpenter, but we don't care at the moment. So let's close this. So that's actually the first part. So we defined which texts will be added with the promotion. And now we need to go back to services, and there is also a personality folder, and that's the second Lua file we need to open. And there is actually one entry which we need to add, which is here down there. You see again for each profession one entry, so let's take one and add one for the custom profession, so that the events are also called in the right way. There we go. Okay, and now what we are missing as the last item is, as with all the things we are adding, we need to take a look on the manifest, and there we need to do also quite some changes. So let's look for the carpenter again. Here you will find the first link to different things like the workbench outfit, the tool they are using. So let's copy and paste this whole block and replace here carpenter with custom profession, so that we have all these entries linked also to our folders which we have created earlier. So all of them should be available and existing already. So here we have the tool. That's for the outfit. And here we have the workbench. So we need to make everything known to Stonehearth. Here's the general JSON description for it. Okay, so that's the custom profession part. Now let's look what is else there. There is a personal logs. Okay, so that's the log file for the carpenter. So also this needs to be announced here to Stonehearth. And I'm wondering if I'm missing anything or if it will work just the first try. Okay, so this we have also. Custom profession. And let's look further. So there are some sounds. This we don't need to touch. So let's skip them. But down here there is a little bit more. So we have a reference to the less file of the workshop. So let's just do it and include this also for the custom profession. There we go. And what else do we have? That's it. So save. Let's close the game. Let's close the manifest. And yeah, let's hope that that's it. We will see if it works or not. Just with the first try. There are two other points where there is a reference to the classes or to the professions, but they seem to be outdated, so we don't need to change them probably. Let's see if I'm right here. So let's just build something, and we should have now 3 options for different professions if everything went well. Okay, that's a little bit small. Let's create a bigger one. Stockpile. So we can also try out some of the recipes. And now we have here workshops. So we have here the custom profession with the shortcut X. Let's try maybe first to base a carpenter in the world, and then we can take the custom profession. You see here everywhere the reference is now towards the custom profession, not to the carpenter. Let's promote here someone. Maybe not the guy who is building the other workshop. So this lady has the honor to become our carpenter, and here we see custom professions workshop. So that's now really not optimized, right? So that's for sure not a perfect name, but you see that actually everywhere the name is now visible, which we defined. And let's craft here something like a bed. He will look now the same as the carpenter, but the description will be custom profession, because he's actually not a carpenter. He just has the same look and the same skills. Well, okay, you can argue if he is a carpenter then, but if you change that, everything should be then fine again. And here you see also custom profession workbench. He has the same recipes as the carpenter because we did not change that, but they are working now independently from each other. Everything seems to work, so the 2 references I just mentioned, they seem to be really not relevant and outdated. So I will not touch them actually, not to cause a little bit more confusion. So you saw the 7 steps we had to change. It was the, let's open maybe the folder back again. We go to the entities, we add here our profession to the professions folder. We go later on to the UI game folder, and here we go to the start menu. Where do we have it? Start menu, where we need to do some changes and add icon. Then we need to go to the data effects, where the workbench will be placed or described. We need to add here also our custom profession. So place workshop, and here we need to add it. And as a fourth step, we go to the professions folder, which is mod Stonehearth profession, and we add also here our custom profession. And then there were these two personality things. So that's for the log actually. So we go to, again, data, and there is a file folder personality where we add our custom profession. And we go then later on to the services, again, personality, and change inside the Lua file one line, if you remember, to add our profession's name in there. And finally, we go to the manifest and introduce all the changes to Stonehearth, or the relevant one. And once you've done that, that's it. You can then start to change the look. Most of them you will find in the entities profession, and then here you have the outfit, you have the saw, which is the icon, which you see here above the workbench once you build it. Let's just build a new one. So this can be changed, and actually also the look of the workbench. You see here this saw, and if you promote someone, no, not if you promote, if you build a new workshop, you see here also this icon. So that's actually what you find here, also in the professions folder for each profession under images. And skin is the look of your crafting workbench, so you can change all of these layouts. And if you want to change how it looks like in the menu, then you go to Start Menu, to the images, and here you have the other icons. So that was it. It's a little bit much. Just give it a try once or twice, or a little bit more often, depending on how fast you can implement all the things. Just think about really to pay attention on how you write the names, big letters, small letters, having dashes in there, whatever, and to change not only the file names but also the content in the file. If you do it like I showed it, just to copy and paste always the carpenter's profession files, then you can look for carpenter and mostly replace the name. And that's it. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one. I think it was one of the more interesting ones because it really offers you now the opportunity to add here professions with your own recipes. They all require workbench, so that's a prerequisite. Later on it will be possible to create professions out of items, but did not dig into this one yet. So there you go. I hope it was, as said, kind of interesting, and of course, as always, would be happy if you drop by for the next tutorial. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye.